66 million years ago, the forests and plains of North America were dominated by the iconic Tyrannosaurus rex. Its robust jaws and keen senses helped it make a name not only for itself, but for its family, the tyrannosaurids. These animals were the greatest predators ever to walk the earth, and they were powerful due to their adaptability. But they didn't start out this way. Like most great things, they started from something small, later giving way to becoming one of the most successful predators this planet has ever seen. Our story begins 165 million years ago with the rise of the first proceratosaurids. These little critters are the earliest known possible ancestors to the true tyrannosaurids, such as the Tarbosaurus and T-Rex, but were unique in their own way. Among these, the most prominent members are the Proceratosaurus, a small theropod that lived in the Middle Jurassic period in what is now known as England. There was also the Guanlong, known for its large head crest. Its name means crowned dragon. It was likely a fast and agile predator or an opportunistic hunter. It lived during the late Jurassic, in what is now known as China. Fast forward to the early Cretaceous, and the Sinotyrannus emerged, a larger, more robust proceratosaurid, bridging the gap to later bulkier tyrannosaurs. Think of it as an early blueprint for the apex predator form. It also lived in northeastern China. These creatures weren't dominating anything just yet, but were a sign of something great evolving. They had long arms with three-fingered hands, slender bodies built for speed, relatively large brains and keen senses, and evidence of proto-feathers. During the early to mid-Cretaceous, tyrannosauroids began to increase in size and develop traits that foreshadowed their later giant forms. As they grew in size and power, they didn't immediately lose their speed or feathers. Meet Yutyrannus, a 30-foot-long, fluffy nightmare on two legs. A perfect blend of ancient and modern. It's the largest dinosaur with direct evidence of feathers, with adults approximately 9 meters long and approximately 1.4 tons. Fossil evidence shows feather filaments up to 20 centimeters long, covering multiple body parts: tail, pelvis, arms, neck, and ankles. These probably served as insulation, given their habitat. They lived in the Liaoning region, where temperatures averaged approximately 10 degrees Celsius. Its feathers likely helped regulate temperature in a cooler climate. As a basal proceratosaurid, Yutyrannus strengthens the hypothesis that feathers were ancestral in tyrannosauroids. Even large later species, like T-Rex, may have retained some plumage. Other tyrannosauroids, such as Appalachiosaurus, could also be considered transitional stages, but the Yutyrannus doesn't just exist in the middle of the timeline. It captures multiple evolutionary transitions happening at once. These dinosaurs were evolving features that foreshadowed the later giant forms, such as reduction in the number of digits from 3 to 2 functional fingers, increasing the robustness of the skull and jaws, and greater emphasis on sensory adaptations, particularly smell and vision. By the late Cretaceous, tyrannosaurs were no longer just evolving, they were dominating. The feathers were gone, the arms were shorter, and the bite? Bone-crushing. This was the age of the tyrannosaurids, the final form of a 100-million-year journey. During the late Cretaceous, roughly 80 to 66 million years ago, the continents weren't in the same positions as today. Sea levels were high, and the land masses of Asia and North America were much closer, connected by a land bridge called the Beringia. This same land bridge was used by the Ice Age mammals and even humans tens of millions of years later. Fossil evidence suggests that early tyrannosaurids, such as Tarbosaurus, evolved in Asia, and then some crossed into North America around 70 to 80 million years ago. Recently, paleontologists discovered a relative of the T-Rex, the Conculu mongoliensis, and it may have been the first tyrannosauroid to cross the land bridge into North America. Once in North America, tyrannosaurs diversified into full tyrannosaurids like Lithranax and later T-Rex. This ancient crossing would forever change the fate of tyrannosaurs, because once in North America, they evolved into giants. For millions of years, the Carcharodontosaurids, giant, blade-toothed killers, ruled as apex predators. But as climates shifted and ecosystems changed, they vanished, leaving a deadly silence at the top of the food chain. And that silence would soon be broken by the rise of the tyrannosaurs. As the mid-Cretaceous world shifted and ancient seas divided the continents, Asia became a cradle for some of the most advanced tyrannosaurids the planet had ever seen. Chenozausaurus, nicknamed Pinocchio Rex, had a long, narrow snout and likely hunted smaller, fast-moving prey. It was agile, lightly built, and very different from its stockier cousins. Then came Tarbosaurus. A close cousin to Tyrannosaurus rex, Tarbosaurus lived around 70 million years ago and shared many of the same traits. Thick skulls, banana-sized teeth, and crushing bite force. But unlike T-Rex, Tarbosaurus had a slightly narrower skull and was more lightly built, a sign that its environment and prey shaped its evolution differently. It also lacked the binocular vision of its American relative. These Asian tyrannosaurids weren't just isolated wonders. They were the final proving ground, a launch pad for what was to come. At some point during the late Cretaceous, they crossed into North America, and what emerged there would become the ultimate predator. Over millions of years, tyrannosaurids adapted to their new environment: bigger prey, open floodplains, and fierce competition. From early forms like Dynamoptera and Lithranax, they began to evolve stronger jaws, more forward-facing eyes, and bone-crushing teeth. One of the first true tyrannosaurids to rise in North America was Daspletosaurus, a frightful predator stalking the river plains of Montana and Alberta nearly 77 million years ago. Heavier than its predecessors, with a deeper skull and bone-crushing bite, it was getting closer to the design that evolution had in mind. Some scientists even believe Daspletosaurus might have been a direct ancestor of T-Rex. By the late Cretaceous, tyrannosaurids had already conquered North America. But one species would take things even further. Tyrannosaurus rex wasn't just bigger. It was better. Stronger bite, sharper senses, smarter brain. It was the final product of a lineage that had evolved for over 100 million years. The ultimate predator in Earth's history. By the time T-Rex appeared, 68 million years ago, it had evolved into one of the largest land predators in history. Length up to 12 to 13 meters, 40 to 43 feet. Height at hips, approximately 3.5 meters, 11.5 feet. Weight, approximately 9 tons skull length, over 1.5 meters, 5 feet. Unlike earlier, more gracile tyrannosaurids, T-Rex was built like a tank, its entire anatomy focused on dominating prey and surviving competition. One of T-Rex's most terrifying weapons was its jaw and bite force. Estimated at 8,000 to 12,000 pounds, stronger than any known land animal, modern or extinct. Its massive U-shaped jaws could deliver bone-shattering bites, which is supported by fossil evidence of crushed bone in prey remains. Teeth were not blade-like but thick, serrated, and conical, ideal for puncturing and ripping, not slicing. While not genius level, T-Rex had a relatively large brain for its body size, especially in areas controlling vision, smell, and motor function. Forward-facing eyes gave it binocular vision, allowing depth perception, crucial for stalking and striking. A study by Kent A. Stevens, 2006, found that T. rex had a binocular field of view of around 55 degrees, which is greater than that of modern hawks. This implies excellent depth perception. Enormous olfactory bulbs in the brain indicate a powerful sense of smell, possibly used for tracking prey or carcasses over long distances. It had a better sense of smell than modern turkey vultures. From humble feathered hunters in Asia to apex predators in the heart of North America, tyrannosaurs weren't just brutal, they were brilliant products of evolution. And at the peak of it all stood one name: Tyrannosaurus rex. A creature that didn't just survive, but dominated. Its reign may have ended 66 million years ago, but its legacy, that lives on, in fossils, in science, and in our imagination. This was the rise of the tyrant king.